I think I might be halfway.
Hey, True Believers England team here, and it's Monday night, open mic night. So whatever you guys want to talk about, we will talk about. As I see, even though we do this show, I always start at 9 to 9:15, no matter what on a Monday. We've got our usual 9 to 9:15 starting audience of me and you. Oh goodness, this channel is so freaking shadow banned. It's ridiculous. I'm actually hearing a lot of people mention it to me too. Some people are coming back. Hey, wait a second. I thought you stopped doing videos. No, I never did. Never did. But YouTube is making it more and more difficult to find the channel. That being said, I did meet somebody over the weekend at the warehouse sale, and I invited them to join us tonight. Hopefully they will. If they just listen in, hello. We never actually exchanged names, but you're more than welcome. That being said, hey, now I'm here to hold down the fort too. I also shared on Twitter. All right, cool. Thank you, Maranya. That being said, I was looking around for a topic to talk about. What's going on? There's not much going on as far as conversation. So, but you finally took a little bit. You dipped your toe in and watched Black Panther, Namor of Wakanda, or whatever it was called.
Wakanda Forever.
There you go. Let's go with that.
And
that
it feels like
a little bit more feasible.
Yeah.
Say again?
But I mean, we can, I can juxtapose it with, the weekend, box office for, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And again, it shows both the brand damage that all the Marvel movies have done, post Endgame.
Now the hold up for second week of Guardians was not bad.
No, that's the point, is that it had for being the third movie in the trilogy and being part of a popular franchise.
I see what you're saying. It was a before Endgame sequel.
Yeah. Well, the opening weekend box office, honestly was a disappointment. I mean, you would have expected domestically that movie to make, well into 150 or close to 200 million, especially when you factor in ticket inflation. That's what a lot of, these casual observers aren't taking into effect, is that, ticket inflation between, say Guardians 2 to Guardians 3 is, between, 10 to 15% or even more, since you've got so many of these premium format screens and, IMAX taking such a sizable amount of the box office. But on the flip side, and it shows that it has gotten, good positive word of mouth from people going to see it, that, the drop from week 1 to week 2 is only 50%. The one I'll say caveat to that, at least on the worldwide box office side, for people, that look more on the business side and, looking to see if the movie will actually make a profit or not, is right now the China portion of the international box office is outsized. And if you know anything about how China operates, their movie division, they take a much healthier slice of the box office and even the United States.
Well,
you're lucky.
I hope this does
30%.
I hope this does have the legs. It's a good movie. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. It just affected me. I like the story. I think it's a hell of a lot of fun. There's a few movies this year that were a hell of a lot of fun that make the A list, and I think actually only 3. Operation, what was it called?
Operation Fortune.
Operation Fortune, John Wick, and this one. I think that I might be burying something, but I think those are my 3 A films so far for the year.
Mm-hmm.
The Marvels will probably still perform like Birds of Prey. Oh, speaking of Shazam, I had a great time with Shazam. Shazam is just a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That clearly a bomb. I don't think it deserved to bomb out as bad as it did. I was just weirded out by even comic fandom's inability to turn out. Yeah. This is not unfortunately, geekdom it's like the default is to put down and not like. That's the default of geekdom, whether it's movies, whether it's comics or so forth. To look at something, I do it sometimes too. Oh, new idea. Oh man, they have a new idea. It's gonna suck. Mostly new idea for old character. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I would separate it as a brand new idea. I'll give case in point. You know, like been really enjoying the heck out of The Ambassadors. You know, by Mark Millar right now.
Okay.
The comic book. You know, brand new idea. Yeah, it covers some similar themes we've seen. You know, throughout. You know, fiction like that. You know, but you know, Mark Millar, but ooh, new, you know, really cool idea, you know, in terms of, you know, different variation on, you know, giving people superpowers and that, you know, and so that, you know, it is a, you know, place where, yeah, it's favorable, but then it's, oh, here's the new take on an existing character. That's where 9 times out of 10 I'm going like, oh, I don't want that.
It's not like it used to be where it would be Alan Moore thinking, okay, you know what? Let's use these Charlton characters to tell a story. Like, what would really happen? You know, we've got all these people, some of them godlike, you know, what would happen in the real world? Since Alan Moore had done that, though, that trope has been done to death, but it was different. It really did kind of play around with it. It made you go, oh, yeah, that would happen, wouldn't it? And books like that are few and far between now. Now a new idea is, hey, you know this guy you've been reading forever and a day, and how he's been with like 100 million girls. He did that because he actually hates women. He's gay, and now he's black somehow.
Yeah,
you know, it's like that's their only idea anymore. So we're kind of on a hunt. We're on a search for something, a fresh take. I got to tell you, what's been working for me, though, and I know this is kind of a bit janky, but what's been working for me is these new takes on the old comics, where they've been hiring the likes of Peter David to rewrite Hulk or Joe Fixit and all that kind of stuff. That's been working for me. Bring that in. Bring the old creators for these old farts who actually want the old comics. It's as I say, it's not that it's different, it's that it's worse, says Dalton. Shazam 2 got nerfed by DC friendly fire. Yeah.
Well, in the case of like the books you're talking about with Peter David, it's not necessarily a new take on an old character. It's getting the chance to tell additional stories from the time period of when he or the other creators like David Michelini doing the Venom book, the X-Men Legends. It's basically, getting to write additional stories from the time period of when they were, writing the book. It's similar to kind of like the Doctor Who, audio plays that, BBC is famous for.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, do you have HBO Max?
Yes, I do.
Have you listened to the Batman audio play?
I have not.
It is a lot of fun. It really is. I have this thing where if I'm listening to something, I've got to work. But so sometimes when I'm fixing up the auction or doing packages or something, I listen to it. It is so much fun. I used to listen to audiobooks a lot when I was delivering newspapers, and I would love to get the Superman radio show, the Batman radio show, Green Hornet, and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, there would be the comedy plays. I love that kind of thing. Not just radio, and I dig the political talk and all that kind of stuff. But when they're telling a story, you really just get it. Your mind goes to work on it. It's pretty damn cool.
Well, I mean, growing up as a kid, my dad I remember one Christmas or birthday or something, getting him, they used to have an audio tape collection that was like the best of, the 40s and 50s radio shows.
That's what I'm talking about. I might have had the same thing.
Yeah. Well, this one was focused on the comedy side, but I remember in the car, putting the tape in, listening to Burns and Allen, Jack Benny, Fibber McGee and Molly.
Hi George, what you doing? Well, Gracie, I decided I needed to go out and get myself some delicious Maxwell House coffee. Good the last drop. That's what I remember more than the comedy skits. I remember the old commercials like that. Oh my gosh, what happened to you, Georgie? Well, I was chased by a dog, but it was worth it because I went to get myself some Maxwell House coffee. It's so fun listening to this. I've got an old Monkey CD, and it's like everything. It's not old. Well, it is now. It's like 20-something years old that they decided we're just going to put everything Monkeys onto it. And they've got their commercial for Kellogg's, KELL, oh, double good, Kellogg's just for you. I dig that old like that. But HBO Max depressed me. I caught the new Legion of Superheroes animated movie. Not impressed. I enjoyed it. I'm sorry you didn't like it, but I am very happy I enjoyed it. I like the new one. Needed more Dawn Star. Oh, Dalton, check the DM. Let's see. Yeah, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. His 3 screens and 4 outside posters. Oh, what are we doing? I think I know another reason GOG isn't doing that good. The big theater around me only has on 1 screen and no poster. I want to see Are We There, God? It's me, Margaret. My wife laughs at me, by the way, because I tell her, yeah, I want to go. When I got the money, I want to go. Mm-hmm. The thing is I was a huge Judy Blume fan. Seriously. Mm-hmm. I read Tales of the Fourth Grade Nothing in 4th grade, and I'm one of those kids, or I was one of those kids. I got to read the author. You know, if they put out one good book, let's read the whole. I read every soup book by Robert Newton Peck. So I pick up this book by Judy Blume. Read the Ramona and Beezus, read the Tales of the Fourth Grade and all that kind of stuff. And so I picked this up. And it was like being sniped. I had no freaking clue what I was in for. This is not a book for what would have been, I guess, 10 or 11-year-old boys. So I'm reading this thing. It is about a girl who gets her period. And it starts off, these girls, they want to grow up. And so they're waiting. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then, of course, tend to freak out when it happens. It's... and I just really enjoyed it, but I had to really ask a lot of questions when I was a kid. So part of me wants to watch it just to see if they got the book right and everything. But I don't know. Like I said, my wife laughs at me when I tell her I want to see it.
Yeah, I'd probably laugh at you too, but I was more on the Tom Swift, the Hardy Boys.
Oh, I read those too. I read a shit ton of books like that. I had at one point I had the whole Hardy Boys collection. Those blue, what were they? Random House or something? Those blue.
Those were the exact same. Yeah, the little hardback books. Yeah,
the Hardy Boys were blue and the Nancy Drew were yellow. Mm-hmm. I remember that. That's all I remember of. I think one of them was like Mystery at the Lighthouse. Oh, you know what I loved as a kid? Encyclopedia Brown.
Yeah, Encyclopedia Brown. There was also a book series. It was some boy named Henry or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I almost want to say it was kind of like the male version of the Judy Blume books. But I can't recall what the titles were at the time. It was.
Jim Sorensen, Judy Blume is great, but what kid nowadays has even heard of her? He's got a point. I don't think there's a lot of readers these days. And hello to RDV and Dalton. What's up, kids? How's it going?
Jim Sorensen, you might be right. It might have been Henry Huggins.
Henry Huggins. That sounds about right.
How's it going, Grandpa?
Yeah, we're just talking about kids' books from the 1970s. So
I read a lot of Nancy Drew as a kid. That was one I read a lot of, and Goosebumps was one I read a lot of, and the Great Illustrated Classics. I read a lot of those too.
Yeah, that's actually.
I thought you read a lot of Lovecraft as a kid, but
no, I mean, by the time I was 9, I was reading Stephen Hawking's Universe in a Nutshell, so I was no slouch in that department, but. It took me until my early teen years to really dive into Lovecraft. I had heard of him before then, but it was honestly it was just a matter of finding Lovecraft stuff.
When I was a kid, I kid you not, I was an environmentalist, and I was reading shit on the fact that we were going to be in an ice age. The entire northern part of the United States was going to be covered in ice by 1985. Then
so you're the one they gave the Ring of Heart to in that generation. Interesting.
Oh no, they really laid it on about that. We were going to be into another ice age, and then in 1985,
you missed my joke.
Okay, but here's the thing.
You missed the Captain Planet reference entirely.
I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. In 1985, they discover a hole in the ozone layer, right?
It's me, I was born.
And now all of a sudden, maybe you caused it. Now all of a sudden, by 1998, the rivers are going to dry up, the ocean's going to dry up, and we're all going to become cannibals as we join this. And the thing is I remember sitting down because we just got HBO, not in 1985, but a few years prior, and watching a small movie called The Road Warrior. And I realized, you're just telling us we're going to become the Road Warrior. You're doing exact opposite of what you said. And that was the moment I
propaganda
just dropped. Yeah. It was like a light bulb over the head. And from here on in, it was very hard for a commercial to affect me. I don't buy into the environmentalist bullshit. I just don't. I'm sorry, Greenpeace. You're full of oh my gosh, climate change. Go yourself. I've heard it before. Well, in 1998, we were supposed to. Oh no. It might not happen now, but in 10 more years, we're going to. And in the 2000s,
we'll be swimming with the seals by 2010.
In the 2000s, there was a huge movie called An Inconvenient Truth that told us in 2015, Florida's going to be underwater. And I will guarantee you that has not happened. Because here I am in freaking Orlando.
Sir, we all know you claim to be a Floridian, but you don't live in Florida. Florida's
right.
Water.
No, I'll tell you what. Do you know what water we're living under? It's 98,000 degrees outside. We're all sweating. That's the water we're in.
If Florida got flooded, it'd be flooded by swamp water. It wouldn't be ocean water.
Yeah.
That's swamp ass.
No. Well, I mean, I'll tell you that the most accurate, prescient author of the last 20, 30 years is Michael Crichton. And God, I miss him every day.
Yeah, that's disturbingly uncomfortable how accurate he was to everything.
Well, especially, I mean, go back now, read Disclosure, read State of Fear, and he was right on, God, how old are those books now? 10, 15, 20 years?
I mean, hell, Dr. In Malcolm gets, I dust his quotes off every 5 minutes now. It's like you got so carried away with whether or not you could, you didn't stop to think if you should. Every 5 minutes that pops in my head because it just keeps freaking being relevant.
So I want to say something real quick about what you're talking about, the whole climate change and all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
You bring up the 80s, the 70s. They were saying it was going to be an ice age. That was early 70s, man.
Yeah, almost every decade it changes. And
yeah, they essentially just move the time scale up 10.
I would have brought that up, but it's not 10 minutes ago.
The global warming predictors are worse at time scales than modern day Marvel comics, honestly.
Right.
I just want to say that I have to wait 20 minutes before I can get a word in. From you and Dalton. It's not Dalton. It's you like to ramble a lot too, and then change the subject.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You say your piece, and then you don't ask us.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like, and then I have to drag it back. Yeah.
Considering the feds flooded Vietnam using chemicals, the Florida floods, I'll suspect the feds. Yeah, me too. By the way, my dad was affected by some of those chemicals.
Agent Orange killed my uncle.
As a matter of fact, he ended up being diagnosed like, you've got 6 months to live. So in order to get back to Orlando, be near the family and everything, they had a very nice home up north. They sold it and then find out that it's not as bad as it thought. So my dad ended up suing the doctor. He's like, so you don't tell somebody you're going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, that's malpractice. Yeah.
So was that before or after you beat him up?
No, nobody beat him up. I'm not allowed. I was told. Let's see. At 12, I read both Cyborg, the $6 Million Man was based on, and texts on cybernetics and bionics, and completely understood the theories.
Well,
I found Stephen King. Like after everything, after the books you would usually read as a kid, I found Stephen King, and then Lovecraft. And I just started picking up stuff like that. I love horror novels.
You want to talk about prescient authors? You want to talk about prescient authors? I read The Stand, the unabridged, complete version of The Stand,
an awesome book, by the
for
way.
the first time in 2020.
Yeah,
and I was flabbergasted how he could have predicted some of this stuff all the way back when he wrote The
Stand is amazing. The Stand is my favorite book, but it has to be the unauthorized 52,000 page version.
Yeah, the really bonus material one. And then after it adds so much. It's glorious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Stephen King, one of the things I just saw recently that kind of got me excited is in early July. I forget which company's coming out, but they're coming out with a Blu-ray and 4K versions of Needful Things.
Oh, nice.
That includes the 190-minute TNT cut.
I would get it for that.
The superior.
I already have it on Blu-ray, but it seems like I'm getting another one because Needful Things is probably my all-time favorite Stephen King book. I love The Stand, and I'm glad I read it during the pandemic because that was the perfect freaking time to read it. But Needful Things, Eyes of the Dragon, and Dr. Sleep actually are my top 3 favorites.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I will get back to this. Ronald Rugg's in the house. He is in the hospital right now. Glad you're feeling better. He says, try to get them to let me out of bed right now. Let's discuss Beast Wars and the best Transformer series. I'm out. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm out. That was
you're doing better than I was in the hospital, dude. I didn't even dare to get on live streams when I was in the hospital. So
I
good
have
for you.
No clue about Transformers or Beast Wars. I'm sorry, dude. That's just not my.
Is that California?
The Beast Wars
in Transformers?
I guess. There you go. Alrighty.
Yeah. No,
I got it.
Okay, if you want me to say something intelligent about the Transformers franchise that is currently existing, why the heck did they put Unicron into a Beast Wars movie? They should have built up Unicron and made him like the capstone villain of the third trilogy. He is the Galactus of the Transformers universe. Why the hell didn't they save Unicron for like the capstone of another trilogy? You could have called it The Coming of Unicron. It would have been awesome.
Okay.
But no, he's now taking up half the space in a Beast Wars movie for some freaking reason.
Yeah. Who's Unicron? I don't know. I really don't know. Don't explain it.
The extent of my he's a planet eater. He's like Galactus. There's a reason I called him the Galactus of the Transformers universe.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my extent was the 80s cartoon, and I think I watched the first 2 Michael Bay movies before I tapped out. So
I watched 4 of them. No, I think I actually was there 5. I watched them all. I think I've seen them all. I gotta say, I was
Bumblebee is literally the only good one.
I was okay with the first one. I tolerated the 3rd one. Didn't like the 2nd, 4th, and 5th, the ones with Marky Mark, and then Bumblebee comes along, and I was like, why didn't they just do this first?
Yep. You and every Transformers fan on the planet, sir.
Yeah, I liked the Bumblebee movie. That's the extent of my caring for the Transformers. My brother, that's his thing. I was a little bit earlier than that. Thundar the Barbarian. Let's do that movie.
I'll just say the best movie they've ever done to Transformers is going back to 1986.
Yeah, the animated one, but counting the live action ones, I'm
counting the live action ones too, and I say they suck compared to that first movie.
Okay, just a little change of subject since Twiddles came out. Twiddles, the world Twiddles. I was talking to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is, as you guys have seen, really good artist, and I have asked her before to draw me a logo. And she's never wanted to be a part of it because sometimes we talk politics. She's way far on the left, farther than Dalton, and didn't want to be associated. So today I said, I've got a great idea for a thumbnail / logo, something to put on a t-shirt. And she looks at me like, not this shit again. And I said, could you draw Twiddles holding a piece of paper in his beak, and I'll just put "I love comics" on it, and that will be the profile / logo. What do y'all think?
Yeah, that works.
That'd be
I
cool.
think that is actually kind of cool, considering he's the non-silent silent partner for the stream.
I'll just say this. It is kind of weird that she wanted to do a draw logo for you, but yet she's been on your channel multiple times.
Yes, she has, but we only once or twice has she ever talked to the politics, and that's why. And I don't. I know my daughter. I can predict my daughter, but I don't even attempt to say that I understand my daughter, because it's just weird. Like she's got separation anxiety, but she has a job, so she is just an accumulation of contradictions. Hello to Dominic. What's up? Oh, once again, by the way, just to give this heads up, if you're out there and you're listening, I met somebody at the warehouse sale this weekend, invited them on. If you're listening in, see if it's safe. By all means, it is. This is a young lady who was looking for a chance to get away from the kids and talk comics. So I said, sure, come on. We accept everybody. And if you're seeing 6 guys on board, I'm sure Maranya will jump in as well for if you want to come on. Just ask in the chat if you're listening in.
Actually, if you want to see how this channel is, go watch your live stream. Talk about Nerdette.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Today I did a reaction to somebody last night, as a matter of fact, said, hey, you need to see the Nerdette took down one of the fandom guys. The Fandom Initiative, they call themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dalton and I tore up one of their videos from a guy named Actual Fandom. And they're calling people like Gary gatekeepers. They call themselves Actual Fandom, and anybody who disagrees are called anti-fans.
Yeah.
And Gary's the gatekeeper.
And the point of the video we were responding to, in case anyone cares, was basically them getting together with a bunch of their friends going, well, if gatekeeping is what we do, then let's gatekeep those guys, basically.
Yeah.
So, hypocrisy writ large.
So it was supposed to be an every frame a pause. There are spots where I didn't pause while I was talking.
I did not notice.
RDV called it out. I listened to it, and you're right. Now you could hear me, but yeah, you're right. It was sometimes it was a jumbled mess.
I
had to remind you like twice to pause it if you're gonna talk.
So it was hilarious because he tries to speak, and Nerdette is she's a loudspeaker.
Yeah, she is.
She's way too loud, and you could not hear anything you were saying. It was like Nerdette was talking right over you, and that's all I heard was Nerdette. And I was like, you know what? At this point, he should just give up and just pause.
It's like I would forget it. I was so passionate about what I was talking about that I would just have to say it, and I forgot to. And then after a while, it was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I missed the end of that. My internet has been sketchy, says Dark Admiral. It was very entertaining, and yes, people were able to hear me enough to get the messages. And I did pause on what I figured I might go on a rant, because a lot of times when I spoke while it was playing, it was just like a sentence or something.
I honestly, I don't believe in gatekeeping, but I believe in calling out people who are stupid, calling them on their bullshit.
Yeah. What the fuck is that thumbnail?
I think be a fan of something, but
I disagree now. I have seen enough of this that I am completely for gatekeeping, because if you don't, then your hobby will get ruined.
There's a conversation here, so hold on just a sec. Ahsoka is talking about my thumbnail. Okay, here's the deal, Ahsoka. I didn't have any topic tonight. Literally, we started this show off just as a conversation between me and LK. I have no topic. Monday is usually open mic topic, but open topic, whatever you guys want to talk about. But I always start off the show with something to get everything started. Not tonight. Had no idea.
Character, isn't it?
So this is the thumbnail is a picture somebody drew for me. That is I'm the guy in black. I forget his
Really?
freaking name. I forget his name.
Samurai Raccoon was the guy who drew it.
He is the guy who drew it, and Samurai Raccoon is the other character.
Sure, it's not Shinobi.
And,
that was before he changed his name. Shinobi is what he called. Shinobi Raccoon is what he calls himself now, or since the last time I talked to him.
But yeah, I just needed a thumbnail, but I had no idea what we would end up talking about. So I put up a thumbnail that literally represents nothing. So,
yeah, the placeholder thumbnail, basically.
Yeah. And it kind of works, I think. What does Twiddle have to say?
Oh my God. What you should have said that. What you should have done there, it says insert clever thumbnail.
There you go. You see how Twiddles is kind of rested with his head all the way back? Twiddles is about to go to sleep.
See how he's pooping?
Okay, if he stands up and then backs up, he's about to tag me. But the way he's all fluffed out and everything, he is really relaxed and he wants to go to sleep. He heard me say his name, so he's wondering what's going on.
He's kind of like us when we watch these live streams. We just want to kind of just relax, go to sleep.
Well, I just want to say real quick that Dalton, you were absolutely right about the Unicron. What you said about Unicron, that should have been done from the get-go with the Transformers movies. These should have been the big bad built up to over a long period of time.
Done it.
I thought we were going to talk Transformers. I just wanted to say that. I'll get off and let the young lady.
No, say what you need to. It's open mic night.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I said. Dalton's absolutely right about that. So, and I don't really care about the other stuff going on. I'm tired of, the pronoun. I'm tired of hearing that. I hate that word now. Pronouns. I hate it. I just hate the word.
Who was talking about pronouns?
Huh? Oh, because of the Transformer pronoun.
Oh, no. I was
wait, what now?
Going to go there. No.
There's a controversy about the pronouns. What?
The Transformer. You haven't heard about that? It's been going on for 3 or 4 days now.
You can go look it up very simply in the latest Transformer cartoon. I think it's on Nickelodeon or wherever.
Yeah.
There's, basically a scene where there's a Transformer and some little, I think it's a girl, and she shows off her rainbow.
She's a what?
Rainbow lunchbox or something, and it becomes a whole they, them, and the Transformer gets to learn about pronouns.
I would say is nothing sacred, but they came for Scooby-Doo, and like at that point, like I tap out. Clearly, they have no scruples about any of this, so clearly they will come for literally everything.
Guys, we just got asked a question. I kind of dig this one. Phantasm, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I have a good question. A while back, your Movie Sucks did a series called Childhood Trauma about things that scared them as a child. What was something that scared you as a kid? Let's keep it to the movies. The neighbor hanging out at your bedroom window with his pants down. That we're not going to talk about. But what was it in the movies that scared you? And
that cemetery, the 3-year-old little boy when he came back. I was like 12 when that movie came out, and that has always freaked me out and stuck with me.
That's pretty freaky though. That's a good movie.
When I was 5, I want to say, I think I was 5, I might have been 4, I watched Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring on DVD for the first time. It was the very first DVD I ever watched, for one thing. The Ring Wraith, the Nazgul, the scene where it can quote unquote see everything and it's like slashing up the beds. I don't know why, but for some reason, my 5-year-old brain thought that was the scariest thing ever.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah. So,
the thing that freaked me out, I was like 12 years old, just watching TV on a Sunday. We used to have Sunday movies that don't air on regular TV, And so I'm like, go watch this. What is this? Fire in the Sky. Did not know it. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then you see this guy. He's being abducted by aliens. They're straying him down, and you see this needle, this huge, long-ass needle coming closer, closer, closer to his eye. And I'm thinking, are they going to freaking show it going to his eye? And then they cut away. I was like, oh, my gosh. I hate needles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't mind aliens. Aliens are cool.
Jay, who's next?
I'll go quickly. Yeah, I mean, needles are definitely one thing that that freak me out. I can't pinpoint necessarily any particular movie as a kid. I mean, the other thing would be like creepy things hiding in the shadows. So I know like watching later Exorcist movie was it Exorcist 3? It was where the guy's crawling on the ceiling. That kind of stuff really flipped me out. And then just real quickly, movie related was when I was a little kid and went to Universal Studios California, which is in Los Angeles. The big attraction there used to be the studio tram tour, and part of the studio tram tour was the Jaws portion. And so basically the Jaws part was the trams pulling around this serene little area that's supposed to kind of look like Amity Beach or whatever. And you see a little boat out there, and then the boat suddenly gets kind of drops under and gets pulled under. It's like, oh, well, we should get going, And then you see the fin, and then then you have the animatronic Jaws that literally pops up right next to the tram, because the tram also kind of leans to the right. When Jaws popped out of the water, 6 or 7-year-old me was absolutely just terrified that shark was going to grab me and pull me into the water.
I saw Jaws on the big screen when I was 6. And that did it. That scared the hell out of me. I never got too scared to be in the beach because I was always told there were sharks in the water. But then I saw what sharks can do, and that freaked me out.
That put the fear of shark in you.
Another movie that scared me was this is gonna probably seem silly. It was a movie called Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's about it takes place like in 1920s or something like that, and the circus comes to town, but it's an evil circus led by a guy who might be the devil. David Price, the dude who is the dad in Pirates Caribbean, played Mr. Dark. And oh my gosh, what's her name? Foxy Brown.
Oh, Pam Grier?
Pam Grier was the spider lady. She was in a black veil, and she did all sorts of magic and everything. And there was one scene in particular where the boys, the stars, the two boys, were in they were having sleepover, and she made the room fill with spiders, and it was just blew me away, man. And somebody mentioned it, and I'm gonna read you guys in the chat just a little bit. But me and a friend, I guess I was about 13 at the time, 12, 13, and we went to see this movie. And we're just sitting there, and it's a freaking Spielberg family fest. What the hell's so scary about this? All you have is a little girl talking to a goddamn TV. And then all of a sudden, during a rainstorm, a tree bursts in through the window, grabs this kid, and carries him out, and it just... We were watching. I'm like, that was the one. That's the only time I ever stood up, turned around, and walked out of the theater. That scared me out of my fucking seat when I saw
Opening it out a little bit to TV. Are there anything from TV shows that you guys watched as kids that scared you?
Trilogy of Terror. If you are a 50-year-old person, I guarantee you were freaking traumatized by a little African doll chasing Karen Black around a room. That was one of the most frightening freaking things in the 1970s. Now you watch it, it is funny as, but back then,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Back in the day, Trilogy of Terror, this little freaking African doll chasing Karen Black scared the shit out of me.
There was an episode of Tales of the Crypt where this guy, I don't know if he's a photographer for the army or whatever, or nobody, but he marries this girl, and then he plots her demise, like his wife's demise, and gets out the new girl. But then she comes back, and she's like, "Till death do us part," and she's like, basically goes after him. Like,
I got one.
Honestly, that's why I'm afraid of commitment now.
I don't know so much.
Jay, what were you saying?
I don't know so much if this was scary. I think it was Tales from the Crypt. This was late 80s, early 90s. It was this episode, it was this girl who lived with her parents, and she was, I guess, in her late teens, early 20s, and she had this beautiful singing voice. I mean, it was a mesmerizing singing voice. Well, it would lure in travelers, and a lot of these guys were single, so the parents would try to hook their daughter up with these guys. And when they would see when they would finally introduce the guy to the girl, she was like this, just a skeleton or rotted away. And if they chose not to marry her, then the parents they would kill the guy. You know, she was so desperate to find her one true love. I can't remember if that was Tales from the Crypt or what it was, but it always stuck with me.
I think it was. My traumatizing TV memory is the Avatar: The Last Airbender episode, The Puppet Master, where bloodbending was first introduced.
Oh yeah, that was pretty freaky.
That did me. Keep in mind, I was 12 when Avatar first came out. I was in the target demographic for that show. And when it got to the bloodbending episode, which is funny because I really like bloodbending as a concept, I think it's really clever and smart. But Jesus, does it go dark in that episode?
Let's Dominic, do you have one or?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
So for movies, I would have to say The Creeper from Jeepers Creepers, and this was I saw this while I was still in elementary school, and I didn't know it was an R-rated movie. But the fact that there is an immortal demon that goes around hunting people for every 23 years to replace is like decaying body parts by sifting out their fear. That is it goes beyond horror. It's terrifying because it keeps you. Yeah, it keeps you on the edge of your seat because you don't know when the creeper is going to come and get you.
You know, I gotta say though, of all our stuff we talk about childhood trauma, just all these TV shows, nothing as scary as growing up today and watching an episode of The Flash.
Let me get some comments here because people were putting in their answers. Maranya said, oddly enough, SOXon animated tiger in commercials, Mr. Bubble in the old commercial with Bozo the Clown popping out of the drum at the beginning of the cartoons. Sometimes it's the weirdest stuff, right? Let's see. Jim Sorensen, Jaws and the clown scene in Poltergeist. The clown scene was pretty damn. Poltergeist to a 13-year-old kid is a scary freaking movie. Let's see. Thanks, see, I'm tired of defending myself for that. The exhaust fan was broken. I don't know what that was referring to. I apologize.
I was like, you put it a minute after you two were talking about. I was like, where does this connect to anything?
Yeah. Let's see, Maranya, Jaws, the jump scare. Oh, that's why don't you come down here and shovel some of this? And then he pops up. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That was good.
I mean, I still jump at the Meg, in the very beginning when they're in their trench there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't see it. And then they get in the sub, and it's like that. That's my fear. Abyss, being in a submarine down there, and something attacks you.
Matt is saying Exorcist 3 scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. It was a surprisingly effective horror film. Yeah. I can't even stand things touching my eyes or prancing against my eyeballs, says Ethereal.
Yep.
Talking about twiddles and then eyeballs. They amped that clown scene up. Yeah, did you see the remake? It was so fucking lame. Dark Admiral says Jaws got me too. And saying Ray Bradbury. Let's see. Ethereal, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Had a mini series about a circus. And Into Disguise stayed up late as a kid and was freaked out by Kovac the Night Stalker. Episodes where the monster attacked people through reflections, afraid to look in the mirror for months. Oh, we watched, when I was about 6, we watched this little TV thing about horror movies, and they kept bringing up psychopaths. And they showed a scene from Psycho, the shower scene, scared the out of me. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And now I lived near the woods, so I knew what a path was. So I needed to know where I could walk where I wouldn't get attacked by a psycho. I shit you not. That there were my 6-year-old brain was wondering, why would anybody go down as opposed to psychopath?
Yeah.
Well,
my brother thought that was funny as hell and would go, no, get to the left of the hallway. You're on the psychopath.
Do you know what the creepy thing is?
That's cold.
Where I live, it's all pretty much like cornfields and all that stuff. So it's like I I'm in the area where you could easily go.
No.
When
Yeah,
Jason
you and me
walks out,
both, dude.
Jason walks out with the freaking knife out of the cornfield in the remake. I'm thinking like starts attacking people at the parties. I'm like, yeah, anything. And I don't know if you're by yourself, anything can come out of those tall cornfield.
Yeah. Well.
Go ahead.
So in terms of the scary movies, one of the ones happened kind of later in my teen years, and of course you'll laugh. It was the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That was effective when it first came out.
Yeah. So what was funny was that I saw it like the second or third week that it had been out, and people talking about it. Not in me. I went and saw it like a daytime matinee. It
was the first big found footage movie.
Yeah, and it was fine, and it happened to be a day though where my parents were out of town, so I was home alone, and so going to bed that night. Well, it was really windy, and there was a tree outside my bedroom window, and the wind blew that tree, and the limb would start scratching the window and scratching the window screen. My mind was playing tricks on me, and I could not get to sleep the entire night because I was just thinking about that movie and having the tree.
I can ask
the tree scratching the window.
Eric and Boyd says, here are two funky movies from the 70s that scared the heebies out of me. Gargoyles and Demon Seed. I remember Gargoyles. Demon Seed's not coming to me quite that fast. Matt is saying, is that movie based on Ray Bradbury? Yes. Yes, it is, Matt, and it is.
Yes, that's Ray Bradbury's.
No, it's not on Disney Plus, is it?
I don't.
Something Wicked. I think it is actually. I'm pretty sure.
I want to watch it now.
I think I might have to watch that instead of finishing Wakanda Forever.
Jim Sorensen is
better use of your time.
Jim Sorensen is bringing up Twilight Zone and the amazing, the wonderful, the legendary June Foray, voice actress extraordinary, going, I'm Taki Tina, and I'm going to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, that's the same voice as Natasha and Rocky the Flying Squirrel. O. Schmidt, Poltergeist was awesome, says Dark Admiral. Phantasm said 2001 Maniacs freaked me out, where one of the actors was bound and quartered. Karen Black and that doll, yes. First, I get excited to see Karen Black and her sexy. Yeah, she is. She was pretty good back in the day, and then things went off the rails. Dark Admiral saying, "I remember Trilogy of Terror. All the movies with straight white males scare people during current years." Says Eric and Boyd. If does Dark in that episode, Avatar is awesome. Avatar is awesome. This is a true fact.
Yeah, no, Avatar's amazing, and I now absolutely adore that episode. I do, and bloodbending is probably my favorite thing you can do with waterbending. But I think I was 13 or 14 when season 3 came out, because I was 12 when it first season 1 aired, and the idea of losing that kind of control, of being involuntarily bound and puppeteered by someone, that I guess that's a leitmotif of what scares me, because a couple of years ago there was a movie on Netflix called Gerald's Game. It's based on a Stephen King story.
Yeah, it's good.
That was the first horror movie in ages to actually legitimately freak me out.
That's something. We watch horror films all the time. Gail only likes to watch movies where people die, and I truly do not like the way she edited our wedding film. Anywho, Maranya is mentioning that the jump scare I told from Jaws is the second jump scare. She's talking about Ben Gardner's head in the boat. Sorry, I was trying to play off neighbor hanging out the window. Howling Man from Twilight Zone. That's another good one. Tales from the Crypt Scarecrow episode with Patricia Arquette. And another episode with Gabe O'Hillary. What was up, RDB?
No, so LK talks about the tree growing up and scratches his window. And I'm just cringing. I'm like, doesn't anybody trim your trees at your house? You know, when I've seen the movies, like the window scratching, you know, I've always, It
just happened to, get long, because when Blair Witch came out, it was a fall release, if I remember right.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I know, yeah.
Oh,
I remember. It was.
I saw Demon Seed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I just wanted to mention too, because I know that Dark Admiral had a great comment about the intro to Tales from the Dark Side used to freak him out, and that was really the heyday, of watching, syndicated programs, and you had Tales from the Dark Side, and you had Monsters, you had Friday the 13th, the series, you had Freddy's Nightmares, you had a bunch of these shows, and
I love those horror anthologies. I have half of them on DVD, and I'm gonna get the other half soon.
So I gotta say, being a northerner, I have really no desire to go down south. Especially when I see stuff like Wrong Turn or Southern Comfort.
Oh my gosh, my cousin's in Wrong Turn.
Yeah. Is he wearing makeup or is it?
No.
Wait, seriously?
They just let him. He let them film at his house.
Wait, are you joking or are you being serious? Do you actually know the actor who was in Wrong Turn?
Actor. I like the way you're so cute, Dalton. No, what I'm saying is I've got family members that scare the fuck out of me. I kid you not. So I understand where Venkman's coming from, but no, I was joking around. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you guys remember a horror anthology on HBO before Tales from the Crypt? The Hitcher.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was and the Hitcher the movie. That was one that got me. That was one I was about 15 or 16, and me and my friend went and saw by ourselves, and that was pretty. No, I guess I would have been about 16 or 17. Sorry, guys, it's 30-something years. But yeah, there were films like that where we would sneak in and watch them, and they would just freak us the hell out. Sometimes we would psych ourselves. Like me and my cousin went and saw Friday the 13th Part 5. And the worst of the worst, but we're like what, 14 and 15 at the time. And we went to the mall. This is one of those days where we paid for one movie, saw two, went to the arcade, and got ourselves a bowl of Coney Island chili. And it was supposed to be a great time. We saw something, and then Friday the 13th. And after Friday the 13th, we walked home. And the way we had to go to get to my house was through the freaking woods. And it started raining.
Oh, well, that's...
And we start to walk into the woods, and of course we look at each other and go, okay, we're going to risk it because there is a long way we could go. It'll be about half an hour, but
sometimes the universe just trolls you. I swear to God, the universe has an innate sense of humor.
So we kind of were like, ha, 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 we're going to brave it. I'm brave. You brave. You're brave. Okay, I'm brave. Let's go. And then it's... And my cousin goes... fucking serious. Just like I will remember that for my entire life. He just looks, because he didn't look over at me, he looked up and he goes, fucking serious. And then we kind of like, both of us like, yeah, I'm brave, you're brave, let's go. Okay, we're still going, we're gonna go. Okay, that's fine. But we're like walking a little faster.
Cue dramatic lightning effect.
Yeah, and then it's like it just starts pouring. Of course, we're using, I don't want to get wet. You don't want to get wet? Okay, yeah, we should run. But
Q Vincent Price's voice in the background going, what Aaron and his cousin don't know.
But yes, but in the back of our heads, we're both hearing, kill, mama. Yeah, so it is we psyched ourselves out for that one.
That's the thing, though, is like I think about those weird plots, like two friends are traveling, they have car trouble, they break down, they find this abandoned house. It's like, what if that actually happens to people?
It
happens. It happens a lot.
Over at the Frankenstein's place.
I see how people drive, and I can imagine. Do people even like fill up their cars halfway, or they let it go down to E, and then watch it break down? Their fuel pump dies. More and more, I'm thinking that's actually a real thing, because I've known women, I've known guys. They let their car go all the way down to just above E, and after a while, my fuel pump doesn't work anymore. You wonder why, So,
yeah, reality is often stranger than fiction, as the old saying goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, as an adult now, it's less the slasher stuff that gets me. It's the psychological horror stuff.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not afraid of slashers. I'm not afraid of supernatural stuff because I could deal with most of that. It's the trippy psychological things. Like I say, with Gerald's game, the thing about being trapped, locked somewhere for 3 days and not being able to move and stuff. That kind of stuff does me in.
Things that kind of scare me. And I'm gonna bring up the most ridiculous version of this. There's a Steven Seagal film. It's actually one of his first, Above the Law, or the one that came after.
Fire Down Below.
Say again? No, not Fire Down Below. But there's an actor, William Forsythe. He plays the villain in one of them, and he's stuck in traffic. And this woman goes, "Here's my line." And William Forsythe gets out of his car, walks over, blam, shoots her in the head, gets in his car, and they drive away. That's the shit that scares me, because that is just random. You can't do anything. Jason coming at me, I can run. I'm not female. I'm not going to turn my head and then fall. So I can get away from him. But that's the kind of stuff. Unless you throw an axe at you.
Dark Admiral, not only do I remember Night Gallery, I own Night Gallery on DVD.
But I haven't really watched. Oh, The Flying. You know what, Eric and Boyd, that's one of those things that scared everybody, but nobody likes to mention. The Flying Monkeys and Wizard of Oz. It's okay. Here you go. Is there a scene in a non-horror film that scared you, traumatized you, or in other way kind of affect you in that, in a negative way? Not negative like, oh, this movie sucked, but negative like, oh my God, is there anything like that in a non-horror film?
I'm sure there is. I can't think of anything right at the top of my
head. Same. I have a couple, but they're just not coming to me.
Okay, I'll bring up one that traumatized every kid in the 1980s. The horse in the quicksand, or the swamp of depression.
Spartex and Atreyu in Neverending Story.
Neverending Story. That is one. Was it? No. Yeah, it's like I'm 18 in this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're talking about kind of traumatizing, I mean, honestly,
if it scared you, but
honestly,
it's gotta be serious, not.
Yeah, I'll say the Normandy scene in Saving Private Ryan. That was one of the very few films where, especially, I mean, just how intense that was, that I got uncomfortable in the theater watching it, just because of it kept going and kept going, and you just watch man after man get cut down, and I had seen a ton of war movies before that, watched Platoon and watched,
but it didn't capture it quite
as just bringing up something that's really that I identify with.
Yeah, that's the scene that really got me too. The knife.
No! Knife goes to his chest. Oh.
Yeah. Well, and I was just going to tell Venkman too that if you don't like needles, don't watch Audition.
Oh my gosh, Audition! That is a horror film. I did not tell Gail what we were getting into. Like I had seen it, and I said, I put this movie on, and she goes, "What are we watching?" I said, look, we watch horror films all the time. I want to watch just a nice, simple, romantic kind of drama. A man gets divorced. He's looking for a wife. He goes with a friend who's making a movie, and he picks out a girl from the auditioners that he likes, and they find each other. And she's like,
that's one way to put it.
Actually,
and the thing is she starts watching it, and she's like, and she's watching it going, this is dull. And then there's the phone scene, and she goes, why are we watching this? It's not even in English. And then the phone scene, and the garbage bag behind her goes, yep. And she goes, holy shit. And from then she's like,
everybody.
Yeah. And that is a movie. If you could get somebody to watch it without knowing what it is, it works on them so much. It is so much better to go into that film thinking you're watching a drama of some sorts.
Actually, speaking of scenes that involve needles in not exactly horror circumstances, there's a scene in The Craft where the girl in the movie that has scars is getting like an operation that involves getting jabbed by a dozen needles all at once to get her scars removed. And every time I watch it, I can't help but wince, because it's like I have been in those sorts of circumstances. I know what that feels like. Sympathy pain.
Like,
and then when her scar tissue actually starts peeling off, I don't know what it is. It's not a horrific scene. It's not supposed to be a scary scene or anything. But because I've been in hospitals, more times than most people my age, I know exactly what that feels like. And no, thank you. Yeah.
Well, and part of it's because it still is like an intense scene, and it's up close. So I mean, it's the same thing where I mean the needles that really bother me is like you're looking up close and watching the needles slowly go into somebody. That just gives me
Rhaegar, thank you for the $2 super chat saying Venkman Dead Space 2 has the infamous needle scene.
To me, the needle scene is going to your eye. Like, or you're like Universal Soldier going into the skull.
Yeah.
And then a chair. Like that stuff. Like, and the he puts Dolph Lundgren puts the doctor in. I think it's time to take your medicine.
Yeah. Well, I just have to point out here that Eric and Boyd mentions a scene that I think traumatized everybody that got sucked into watching that awful
nude scene
movie.
with Kathy Bates. About Schmidt was not a great film.
No. I went on that with somebody with it on it.
Let me get a couple of. I think the knife scene from Private Ryan is winning the discussion here.
It's such a heartbreaking scene.
It really is. You want him to survive.
It's all because the other guy who choked here and watched him die. The guy who refused to kill him, so he finally kills him at the end. But it's like, dude, too late.
He's a Jew being killed by a Nazi, and you don't want to see that in a World War II movie.
No, it's more, as I said, it's more sad because the kid who was supposed to kill him is like, no, he's fine. We'll let him go. That's the guy who came back and killed his best friend, and he stood by in the stairs, coward, and listened to his friend get killed.
I'm trying to think, what is a non-horror film that had a scary moment?
The scene in Django Unchained when Steven snitches on Django and Christoph Waltz's character, and then the castration happens. I just no. Every time I watch that, I look away from the screen. It's like that is too uncomfortable for me to process right now.
I do remember when I was watching Terminator 2 towards the end, I'm like, how the are they going to destroy this thing? It didn't scare me, but I did ask that.
I'll take you. What's really traumatizing? It's not a horror movie. Casino Royale.
Oh, the nut scene. Oh, yes. Oh, you didn't even. That's all you had to say. I know where you're going. The interrogation scene where he's got him naked with a chair with no bottom, pounding the nuts, pounding the nuts.
Sympathy pain.
Oh yeah. What is it that you see that kind of thing and guys just like? Ooh.
I forgot which one it was, but I'm like, I know there's a freaking scene with Daniel Craig. I'm like, oh, it's that one.
Yeah. Saving Private Ryan was awful. We all knew when they let him go, he was going to come back and do some bad stuff. A non-horror film that had a scary moment. Okay, yeah, I'm talking seriously though. Rhaegar, Terminator 2 is this is my greatest gauge of all. Now, Elizabeth is always doing something on a screen, either on her phone or she's doing her art. She loves doing digital stuff sometimes. Well, she's doing her thing, and we're watching. I got another one. I put on Terminator 2, and she's this. It was just like that. She just slowly stopped, and then now she's riveted to Terminator 2. She only has done that ever with 2 movies, both of them James Cameron, Aliens and Terminator 2. I got a story to tell. So Aliens is out, and I'm gonna go visit my brother, but he says we're gonna have lunch together with him and his girlfriend, and I'll meet us at this time. I figure, okay, I got some time. I'm gonna go see Aliens. All right. So I go see it, and obviously perfection just shows to me across the screen. And I say, bullshit, we're going to see this again. So when I get to Jack's house, I say after lunch, we're going to see Aliens. Says, yeah, I want to see it, but I don't know if I want to see it. No, we're going to see it. It's that freaking good. And he knows if I'm saying that, let's go. So this is my older brother. And he's a little bit more dramatic than I am, but we're sitting here and watching now. I just saw this movie not but 3 hours before, so I'm watching the film again, but I'm also watching him. The scene, you know, the first part where everything goes to hell and they all run for the vehicle and they jump in and all seems good, and this alien bursts in. My older brother, whom I never would have said in any way, shape, or form was wimpish or whatever, he goes, he doubles. He got into the infant position so
screamed like a little girl.
He did.
So
it was so freaking glorious.
Do you know what's the most traumatic scene that every child has seen? It's not a horror movie. It's The Lion King, The Death of Mufasa.
Yeah, I was 20.
No, I said that's why I said kid. I said
didn't work with me, but yep.
There's a lot of stuff that didn't work with you, but we can talk
Disney.
about
Yeah, I
Disney,
didn't.
Yeah, for our generation, that would be Bambi.
Bambi's mom. No, I was about to bring up The Great Mouse Detective. With what was it The Great Mouse Detective I'm thinking of?
Well,
with
or
the
Secret of Nim. Secret of
Secret
Nim.
of Nim.
God damn, Secret of Nim. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
yes, Secret of Nim can destroy you.
I watched it once, and I barely remember anything. There's a giant owl and a mouse.
It is so good.
My grandmother
And I just remembered, so a non-horror movie that had something that scared the hell out of me. Do you remember the Tom Selleck movie Runaway?
Yes. And those
little metal spiders that Gene Simmons' villain had. Those scared me to death. I was terrified they were going to come around the corner at me or something. They were just horrifying when I saw it.
Rhaegar, I saw your joke, but isn't Nim a neo pronoun now? It's one of those. It's one of those 5 or 6 down the list neo pronoun things.
Wouldn't it be, instead of being Secret of Nim, it'd be Secret of Nur, right?
Well, let's not.
Yeah, it'd be Nim and Nim.
I'm having fun talking about movies.
And as we often do, I have to correct Zach here. Green Inferno is not a horror movie. It's a comedy.
The Green Inferno is it's a
or he said a comfortable movie. No, it's a comedy. I love the Green Inferno.
What is the one with Anthony Nelch and
the more I think about
the Nazi?
It's funny.
Rhaegar, are you serious? Have you never seen Secret of Nim? We need to strap you to a chair and Ludovico technique him with Secret of Nim now. Jesus, Rhaegar, what the hell?
Homeward Bound is another one that traumatized kids too.
Orange on him, okay?
Okay, hold on, Dominic. What were you saying?
Well, I'm just saying we're not going to suddenly turn the clock of orange and force him to watch Secret of Nim.
Right.
All I'm saying is it might be time for a little bit of the ultra-violence Midrugis, all right?
No. But I mean, it was a great, Don Bluth movie. It just had, some serious themes to it, using usually lighthearted characters to tell the story.
Creepy as hell.
All right, Venkman, you were saying something. Sorry.
Yeah, what's the Patrick Stewart movie with Anthony Nelson? It was the last movie that Anthony Nelson did before he died. It was the one where Patrick Stewart is a Nazi. He owns a club.
Oh, the Green Room.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were talking about Life Force for a second.
No, I mean,
Anson Yeltsin is a little too young for that one. And I don't watch Life Force for the scares.
Speaking of Patrick Stewart and trauma, I'm sure I only need to say the "There Are 4 Lights" episode, and everyone knows exactly what I frickin' mean.
Oh yeah.
Granted, it's supposed to be traumatizing because it's extremely well acted on both parts, but yeah, that'll do it.
Didn't Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, didn't he consult? I know Amnesty International was involved in it, or in terms somehow, just in terms of kind of like getting the interrogation and things, the kind of the torture scenes, to I'll say be accurate.
Didn't Patrick Stewart do a Our School is Getting Attacked movie? Toy Soldiers.
Yes, yeah, I think he was the principal in was he the principal or the antagonist in Toy Soldiers?
No, is it Toy Soldiers that he was the bad guy in?
Oh, I thought isn't that the one where it's like a boarding school?
Yeah,
and
but there's
over?
it's the drug cartel that's the bad guys there.
Or is it drug cartel? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Patrick Stewart came out about 6 or 7 years later.
Okay.
But Toy Soldiers is fun. I really recommend that.
Yeah, I recall. Well, because the one you're talking about is, I hate saying, a little bit more lighthearted, but
yeah,
it wasn't as serious necessarily as Toy Soldiers.
Maranya says the eye scene in the first Avengers movie, to this day I cannot watch again. The scene with the lamb, and then also the scene with the lamb in Ant-Man.
What eye scene in Avengers?
I don't know.
I have to go back. Unless you're talking about the Ray Fiennes and Uma Thurman.
Rhaegar brings up a really good movie, Sleepaway Camp. Boy, would that fit in well today.
Yeah, I don't think they would be able to get away with that because of the twist.
The fact that they actually used a real girl, but then they had like they when they shot down, it was a boy's body. They somehow digitally put it to her head.
Yeah, the actor was a female, but yeah, for that scene, yeah, they put a male body double in there.
Yeah,
and then she came back for like 2 more movies.
I think even another one after, like, 3rd or 4th one too.
Yeah,
they were made pretty recent. I never saw those. The first one was, man, I tell you what, it got lost in all the other slasher movies of the 80s. That one was real ahead of its time.
Okay, Loki takes the eye of a scientist at the beginning of the film. Okay, that's.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the impaled on a lamppost thing from Multiverse of Badness, the Gargantos thing, but I guess there was an eye thing in the Avengers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If you're going to talk about eyes,
I'm sorry. We have to call out Ash here because, I'm sorry, but the crying game is no longer traumatizing, you bigot.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
If you're talking
I missed the joke. What's the joke there?
If you're talking about eyes, by the way, you have to talk about Lucio Fulci and the movie Zombie with that door frame that just and then pierces right through it. It is possibly the greatest of all eye trauma scenes.
So
I've never seen that, and now I have no desire to.
Slow. It goes so slow, it lets you feel every bit. Even when, like, if you put something too close to your eye and it starts touching the eyelashes, and
please stop talking.
So I want to
so slow, and then it pierces the eyeball, and just all the pink stuff spills out. Lucio Fulci, Zombie, amazing. It might have been Zombie 2, Dark Admiral. Point being, nobody beats.
So, Dalton, you've never heard of a crying game before?
Yeah,
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. What's the premise?
The scene they're kind of talking about is a guy falls in love with this girl, and I guess she's like an IRA member or something like that.
Okay.
And they basically build you up like, oh, it's a really cool budding romance. It's up until finally they're finally gonna get together. They're gonna have sex, and it's not a girl. And they show the full frontal, like they show like his penis.
You've seen the Stargate movie, right? The original Stargate movie.
Yes, I've seen Stargate.
Yeah, the actor who played Raul J, what's his name? He played the transgender in the crying game.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
doesn't it end with the guy killing her too?
I can't remember. It's been a long time, and I try to block most of it out.
Yeah.
So
now, that Patrick Stewart movie you were thinking of, Masterminds.
There you go. MK is bringing up I Spit on Your Grave. Can you imagine if that was made nowadays? Now, 3 years ago, they made sort of a Halloween Ends version of I Spit on Your Grave. It was not good. They remade it about 8 years ago. The movie itself is not good. It really isn't. It is brutal as hell, and it can tire you out just watching it. But it truly, I can't say for the first 10 minutes is get to know the characters, but then the subsequent 30 minutes is straight up torturing this woman, and it was it's just tiring to watch. That's one of those I saw as a kid because it was an infamous movie that was banned and it was hard to find. So when I found it, I watched it and didn't do anything for me.
So I was talking with Rob yesterday. We're talking about movies coming out and said we're because somehow we got a subject of we're talking about the badass moms because of the movie days,
Yeah.
And I was saying the mom from The Quiet Place, the whole scene where she gives birth in the tub,
yeah,
and has to keep the kid quiet and all this stuff, and I said overall the plot's the aliens are kind of stupid looking, but I told him the scary part about it is living in a world like that where even the introverts, because even I know introverts, we do speak, we make noise.
Yeah, we make noise when we want to, and
we'd be the last ones.
Well,
and I would hate to live in a world like that where you can't make any noise, whether talking or not. It's just because they.
Well, my problem with the quiet noise, and I like the quiet noise, is that I defeated him in 5 seconds. Well, not literally. I thought of the idea. You get a whole bunch of sound stuff. You put it in the middle of a football field. You turn on the sound. They come and they attack all the stuff making the sound, and then the soldiers blow them the fuck up. I mean, they're not unbeatable in the fact that we know one thing that attracts them. So I had to turn my brain off for that.
So the problem with that theory is that nobody knows that.
No, it was actually. No, they did in The Quiet Place too. They figure it out right away that's what it is, because they're telling me, shh, be quiet, because they recognize that they're not attacking anybody who's being quiet. They're just attacking when they hear the noise. So they actually figure out the noise thing right away, according to A Quiet Place too. And there aren't enough of them on the ground to take out the entire population before we could have gotten this. So when I watched it, the first movie, that came to mind, and I had to turn my brain off so I could enjoy it. Once I did, I liked the film. It's just got this one gigantic flaw.
Yeah, it's one of those you have to kind of stretch credulity to buy the premise, but once you bought the premise, it's
there's a knockoff. There's a knockoff. I think it's called Sound or something, whatever. But it's got oh goodness, what's his name from Hunger Games? The flamboyant guy. He was in Devil Wears Prada as the assistant.
Oh, I know who you mean, but I can't think of his name.
He's in something starts with a T at the end. The last name starts with a T. Really good actor, but he did this Quiet Place knockoff with these flying creatures and everything. And anytime they make a sound, they're like little pterodactyls come down and attack people. Well, when they make noise and they need to get rid of them, they hurry up, run across the yard. Can they make it? Let's turn on the wood chipper. And then they all fly into the wood chipper. And I'm like, why is that machine ever off? And why aren't we just having those all over the place? Let's suck them into the wood chipper into the fucking problem.
I gotta politely disagree. The reason why I think it's believable because
Stanley Tucci.
Look at our military. Look who's leading the country. You think we have a chance against anything?
Well, we would have when A Quiet Place first came out.
Incompetence is the ultimate killer of humanity. It's not whatever eldritch horror we have to deal with. It's just basic bitch incompetence.
There are people who would open arms for Cthulhu to come through and be like, worship him, yes, and then he just kills them all.
I didn't see it until I was an adult, and I've got to agree with you. E just made me feel kind of sick. Yeah, it wasn't a fun movie. Ash is, by the way, absolutely 100% correct on this one. Having to be dumb to appreciate a movie isn't a positive, but I do think there are fun leave your brain at the door kind of films.
I agree with Ash though. It does knock the movie down a peg if turning your brain off is a freaking requirement. On the other hand though, there is the sort of counterweight to that, which is there are a lot of people, especially online, who criticize a movie by basically forgetting to watch the movie that they claim to be watching. Like CinemaSins does this all the time. Like he will make sins, quote unquote, that are not true, because if you watch the scene for more than 5 seconds, it's either addressed or it's explained away. So there's that. So yeah, in both cases, it's like, if you're watching the movie you're watching, then watch the movie you're watching. Damn it.
Let's see. Big question. What are everyone's views about The Crow and thoughts about the reboot that's been in development hell? I loved The Crow when it came out. In all honesty, I haven't watched it in probably about 2 decades, though. But I really loved it. I had it on DVD, VHS, and then DVD. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. As far as a reboot, it's about freaking time. Yeah. Look, I don't think they made sequels, so it's not like it's disrespectful.
We're probably going to get a remake or a continuation of Blade before we get a continuation of The Crow, though.
Yeah, so Maranya is just saying, I try to turn off my hypocritical brain and just watch a movie from the first go. If I want to nitpick, I'll go watch it again and do it, But I mean, like, honestly, I do that every movie, because if I try to basically, like, nitpick as I'm watching it, like the first time going through it, like, you miss the whole entire point of the movie. You're too busy, like, oh, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this.
This is actually why I really like spoilers, and I know everyone and their mother thinks I'm insane for actually going ahead and seeking out spoilers before watching a movie, because if I know what's going to happen in a movie, I can pay more attention to how that premise or how that plot is executed, and I'm not going, well, that's stupid because this, well, that's stupid because it essentially allows me to skip through the nitpicking bullshit portion of my brain and right to the, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know, I already know the gist of what's going to happen. Let me now analyze and pay attention to the movie so that I can actually engage with it.
My brother legitimately did not refuse to watch. He did not go watch the movie The Batman with Rob Pattinson because he heard, oh, it's woke. There's one word in there or line in there. It's talking about white privilege. So he's like, I'm not going to go watch it. I'm like, that's the problem. And like I said, people nitpick about one thing. There's a lot of things about movies that aren't even woke I can nitpick about that would ruin the movie for you. But I'm not going to spend there and do that. Just watch the movie.
Have you seen The Hidden? I have. That was one of my first jobs. Actually, it was my first job. I was a usher, ticket taker, and concession at a small movie theater. And by that I say small because it only had 2 screens, but these were old-fashioned screens, so they were huge. Nowadays you would think they were IMAX because of how big they were. It's just that's how movie theaters were made back in the day. And The Hidden was the first movie we played, and I remember it being a very good film. I do also remember thinking Meg Foster has the bluest eyes on the entire planet. But it's a very good film. Recommend it if you can find it. Let's see. I don't care about spoilers, and I agree with Dalton. Also, I don't trust movie writers nowadays, which is why I will actively seek out spoilers.
On that note, though, this is one of the main reasons why the only M. Night Shyamalan movies I like are his superhero trilogy, because he always writes for the twist. He always writes for the twist, the rest of the movie be darned. And I hate that, because it's like, if literally there's only 10 to 20 minutes worth of actual movie in your movie, then you fail at movie making. Which is why I like the East Rail 177 trilogy, because those are his only movies that are good regardless of the twist ending. And that's why I really don't have much respect for M. Night Shyamalan.
Here's a difficult question. And it's from Nutty Wolf. Can you name a film or films that you love that you haven't seen in over 25 years? Well, I'm going to adjust that, by the way, Nutty.
Because some of us are
because Dalton hasn't lived 25 years. But
I'm 27, thank you. But yes, the point is made.
I'll try to answer it, but let's go. How old are you again? Did you say 27?
Yes, I'm 27, going to be 28 in July.
Let's go 12 years for you. You haven't seen it in 12 years. Everybody else whom it fits, say 20 to 25 years. LK, I know you're a fellow old fart, so you could answer that. Is there a film that you actually love, but you haven't seen in 25 years? That's a rough one, because generally, if we love a film, we've seen it more than once, right? Let's see, a film I love that I haven't seen in 25 years. In 25
For me,
years.
that was when I was 13.
Is there a movie that you loved at 13 that you haven't seen since?
There's Caddyshack.
Oh my gosh! You know what? I just realized you haven't
Park?
seen Caddyshack since 13.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. There's a lot of
No,
movies
you've
I just
seen
never
that
went.
since.
The first Jurassic Park? No.
You've only seen it when it was in the theaters?
Yeah.
Wow, that floors me right there, man.
I wouldn't say it's a favorite though. Like same with Independence Day. I always saw that in the theater. I'm trying to think though. For me, the problem is like I have few favorite movies that I do that I don't watch over and over again. You know. But
I just ended the streak, by the way. If I was asked this question just about a month ago, there's a Disney film that is not on Disney Plus. It's called Johnny Tremaine. It's about the Boston Tea Party and everything that leads up to the Revolutionary War. I loved it as a kid, but I could never find it. I couldn't find it on VHS. I couldn't find it on DVD. It's just one of these lost Disney movies. And so I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. I mean, like 10 years old. And I remember loving it. So I finally found it on Amazon Prime. And I was like, bullshit, I'm watching this. It's only $3.99 and I rented this like 2 weeks ago. So I did have a 30-year span for that movie. As far as others, Double Indemnity is a great noir film. White Heat is probably another one. I loved White Heat, but I don't think I've seen it in 25 years.
I'm trying to think like so 25 years for me would be 1998. Yeah.
You know, 25 years for everybody would be 1998.
Right. I know. So I'm trying to think what movies around there that I haven't watched since then.
If you're talking around 1998 that you loved, but you only watched once. A movie that I would have to think of the films that came out.
Something About Mary.
Yeah, is that The Mask?
That's a movie I haven't seen in a couple of decades.
Yeah.
I liked it enough, but it's not one of those that I feel the urge to put on.
No, it seems like it came back at the right time. For me, it would be more of kind of like just B movies that I liked at the time, especially ones, back renting at the, VHS, video stores and stuff. So something like, I probably haven't seen Trancers in like 25 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Is that the Peter Weller one? I think it's Screamers.
Robert Welling is Screamers. Trancers is the tall guy, dark hair. I don't remember his name, but
it's a whole one of the Full Moon features, and back in the days of fun B movies.
Evil. Oh my gosh, Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2. I haven't seen that since the 90s.
Undead Quinn. I probably have gone about 15 years without seeing James and the Giant Peach, and I think that's
about that movie.
Blind Fury. Yes, that's another one. I loved it. Rutger Hauer is the blind swordsman. Good stuff. The Twist and Shyamalan's films are misdirections that you aren't able to see beyond to see the deep film within. Says Ash.
There isn't a deeper film usually behind his stuff. There might be a smart film behind some of his stuff, but there's nothing deep in any of M. Night Shyamalan's movies.
Sixth Sense, Tremors, yeah, I haven't seen those in since the 90s. I'm trying to think what else.
Well, Phantasm is bringing up a very good point. I haven't seen the original trilogy, even though I did download it since the reboot VHS.
I haven't seen Spirited Away in ages. That's one I need to revisit.
Oh, dude, Dude, I went and saw the live play. They did it as a Fathom event where they're doing it as a stage play in Japan, and they just kind of projected it into the movie theaters.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cool. Me and Elizabeth went and saw it. It was such a joy. That was really a joy to watch. The way that they did all of the weird animations, like the spider, they had puppets all over the place that actually after a while you just start to ignore, and it's a really good time. If you guys get a chance to see Spirited Away, if they do this,
it's a great movie, and I'm actually kind of ashamed I haven't watched it since like 2006 or something like that.
So
yeah, it's been quite a while since I've seen it too, and just referencing a movie mentioned earlier that I realized that I have not seen in its entirety probably since I saw it in the theater was Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, I watched that one damn near every D-Day. It's like a holiday thing.
It's one for me. It's one of those that was just so impactful. It's like, this is a brilliant film, but I don't need to go back and see it again because it's just that. I hate using the word traumatizing because that's just
brutal. Is a good word. It's brutal.
Yeah, I think it's a brutal film, and I recognize the mastery of it, but it's just not one I have a desire to like watch over and over again.
That's the thing though, Ash. I hate abstract themes. If you can't be deep with the actual literal content of a movie, I don't care about the abstract theme, period.
All right, let's get some chat answers. Phantasm said the original Star Wars trilogy. Rhaegar's doubling up on the Jurassic Park. Let's see, Aliens and Alien for me. Always been more of a Predator Terminator guy. I watch them all. I'll just be saying, I think I want to watch Aliens. Yeah. I like Alien, but it takes too long to get to the monster. I got to admit, I'm more of an Aliens guy. I've seen the original trilogy, original cuts of the movie, but not in about 25 years. Maranya says, I honestly cannot answer this question because every single film that I love, I've either seen on DVD, Turner Classics, TV, streaming, YouTube. I get that. White Heat sounds like an adult film. It's, oh goodness, James Cagney. Really, really good black and white.
And in the cupboard. Oh my gosh, forgot that.
Loved but only seen once. The Sixth Sense, says Jim Sorensen. Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. Haven't seen it since 1979.
I'm surprised. There's one you always talked about, you always liked, and
Nightbreed. Which one?
And it has a guy he's clicking a pen.
Oh, GoldenEye. No, yes. I watch James Bond a lot. So yeah, I've seen that tons.
I am invincible.
I am invincible. My favorite GoldenEye is my favorite James Bond film. Yeah. Let's see. Sixth Sense is a film about a stranger. Okay, that's the argument there.
I addressed that already. I don't care about themes.
The original Tremors, I have seen that one. Split Second's a lot of fun. But original Tremors, that's a good one. Let's see. How about India in the Cupboard? I do remember that. I don't consider it a great film, but I can understand somebody as a kid.
That's one I haven't seen in ages. That was a childhood favorite of mine. I watched that VHS all the time as a kid because we actually read the book together in class when I was in like 3rd grade. How did I forget about Indian in the Cupboard? Jesus.
And Maranya's saying, hey, wait a second. Something wicked this way comes, since we talked about it before. Yeah, good stuff. That was a good question. Something you haven't seen in a long time that that you loved. And actually, a lot of Miyazaki films, I haven't seen a lot of them. I think the last movie I actually set out to see was The Borrowers by Miyazaki.
Ash, Lady in the Water was also a torrid hissy fit that Shyamalan was throwing because the critical class just doesn't get artists, quote unquote. Yep. Maybe it's just that you weren't making anything worth getting, and
he was going off on the critics for saying he the only thing he had in his repertoire were the twists.
Like I say, the best movies that he ever made was his superhero trilogy, the Eastrail 177 trilogy, and that is good regardless of twists, regardless of any abstract themes you want to put in, because it actually holds water by itself as its own thing. And I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna make fun of me for literally being a stereotypical villain here, but Mr. Glass is probably the single most relatable character in any movie ever for me.
Okay, here's one. Since we're on the movie kick tonight, and we talked about others, everybody else thinks it sucks, but you don't. I mean,
there's a lot of them.
Hurt somebody with this one too, if you can. Like, oh my God, how is it that you like? Because everybody
Son of the Mask.
Son of the Mask. I don't think we're gonna beat that one, dude. You came out guns blazing.
Son of the Mask. Because here's the thing: the only parts of Son of the Mask that suck are the suburban dad parts, the parts that focus on Jamie Kennedy. The Norse mythology stuff with Loki is cool. Loki himself as a character is really interesting and is a great villain. And the basically live action Looney Tunes stuff between the baby and the dog and what the baby does to the dad, all that works. The only thing that's bad about that stuff is that Jamie Kennedy can't hold down a movie. And while that's significant, I like literally everything else about the movie, so I can't hate the movie.
Okay, anybody else want to step up on this one?
Miss Marvel.
No. For me, Dumb and Dumber.
No, unless you're gonna put two or something. People love Dumb and Dumber. That's a big ass.
Dumb and Dumber is like nails on a chalkboard. To this day, I don't understand how.
Oh, you're going the other direction. A movie that people love that you hate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying a movie that everybody else hates but you love.
Oh, okay. Well. Oh, I'm sure there's something. I know there was something VENKMAN, you and Rob reviewed that you didn't like. I'm like, you guys are crazy. This is a great movie. And now
Elektra?
What?
Elektra?
That would be one. I've got an unhealthy like of Elektra. Kind of starts with Jennifer Garner, but it's a goofy movie. Certainly it's not perfect, but I don't think it's like the worst Marvel movie ever, the way, or worst superhero movie, the way people portray it.
That's the way I feel about Justice League. I think Justice League is a fun movie. It's not a great movie. I'm not saying it's even a really good movie, but it's a fun movie.
I can watch it.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Sometimes I miss the Justice League because of the I've been getting into a lot of older Disney stuff. I mentioned this before, and one of the reasons why I'm enjoying it is because the artifice. You can tell they're on a set. Mm-hmm. It almost has that echo when they do the dialogue, and that opening scene between Batman and the thief.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is another one that people hate for no good reason that I can figure out, and I actually really enjoy.
Let's see. Does Plan 9 count? No, I don't think so, Phantasm, because Plan 9 from Outer Space has become loved for being as bad as
meme. It's a meme.
Yeah, it'd be like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now here's one. Gail has taught me how to love stupid comedies. She started with some ones that people consider classics. I thought Billy Madison and Tommy Boy were not good, and then I watched them with my wife, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." And now I like to watch those kind of movies. But the one that it seems like nobody but me and Gail like is a movie called Sorority Boys with Michael Rosenbaum, where they're frat bro football players and they get kicked out of their fraternity, and so they go across the street and live in this.
They cross dress and pull a Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah,
dumb as stupid as hell. I recognize all the flaws, but gosh darn it, I don't care. It is a fun film. But I'm also that way about most of Happy Madison.
Here's another one. It's not a theatrically released set of movies, but it's one that I defend to the hilt that I don't get people's hate for. I like the Channel Awesome anniversary movies, Kick-Assia, Suburban Nights, and Tivoli Fleet.
Yeah, those suck.
For some reason, it's become popular to just dump all over those, and I don't get why.
Dead Heat, Jim. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm one of the only other people I know who like Dead Heat. Tank Girl is a guilty pleasure. I know a lot of people who didn't like it that now have kind of turned towards it. Ash is saying, easy, Last Jedi. But look, I get the pain, because when it came out, I was telling people, look, there's enough there to be a decent Star Wars movie. I didn't hate it. I'm with Ash on this one. I did not hate it. I don't like it as much as the original trilogy. I don't find the sequels or the prequels to be necessary because we got a great Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but there you go.
I didn't hate it up until the point. I didn't hate it up until the point that Rian Johnson basically put his mission statement in the mouth of the characters. The fact the only thing the Jedi and the Sith, these two warring factions who have warred for millennia, can agree on is the past must die, burn it down if necessary. That is what broke me with Last Jedi. It's okay, so you are deliberately making an anti-Star Wars movie in the Star Wars universe.
MK is bringing up 13 Ghosts, which I love. Actually, I've got it on DVD right over outside this room and on my DVD shelf. And movie, I gotta say, nope. Dead Silence, the one with the puppets. Never got that one. Maranya is bringing up every one of the Buddies movies with the puppies made by Disney. They have great relatable plots, teach a lesson.
Oh yeah, the Air Bud movies and the spinoffs.
Yeah, there you go. I think Skyfall screws the Bond franchise because it gives it gives depth to the hero that needs it the least in the history of cinema. But I do love On Her Majesty's Secret Service. That is actually, I think that's gaining ground now. For a while, I think on His Majesty's Secret Service was it was the punching bag of the James Bond series, but I think it's gaining ground. I think people are coming to like it.
It's gained quite a bit of a following over the last few decades. I mean, it was the punching bag early on because it was so unlike the Connery Bond movies that at the time people just it was so jarring that that was what turned people off to it. That plus some of the stuff with Lazenby and and especially afterwards where he didn't really have the desire to play Bond again. And
Ash, it's not just the villain saying it though. Yoda basically echoes a similar sentiment, but right before he uses lightning to torch the sacred Jedi text. And if you actually look at interviews, Rian Johnson basically came out and said that he intended to make an anti-Star Wars movie in the Star Wars universe, and that was basically his mission statement scene. So I don't want to hear but it was just the villain saying it argument, because Yoda agreed in principle with that sentiment, and Rian Johnson deliberately came out and said that was his mission statement. So you just weren't paying attention.
1975, I remember that one. That's from Phantasm. Let's see, England T never seen a movie called Flick. It has Adam Sandler and Christopher Walken. No, I don't remember that at all. Let's see, The Last Jedi was a major contributor to killing Star Wars for Rhaegar. I was literally confused when I first saw it at the end, and not in a good way. I almost walked out a few times. I think a lot of people had that, but like I said, I thought there was a few more things to it.
I think the movie MK's talking about is Click, not Flick.
Yeah.
Oh, Click.
Yeah, I like Click too. It's probably Adam Sandler's best movie in my opinion.
Okay, new topic.
I was just gonna bring up one that I actually like.
Go ahead.
People probably hate. Speed 2.
Dude, you're right. Most
Never
people
saw
hate
it.
Indifferent.
And the first Godzilla movie.
Too.
Like the original first, the 1950.
No. The one from the 90s.
The one in the 90s. Okay, the one with Matthew Broderick. Yeah.
I think Ash might be asking a question.
Okay, with the exception of Punch Drunk Love, to be fair.
He should have gotten an Academy Award nod for that.
Adam Sandler, popular now since 1995 when he came out with Billy Madison. Not his first film. He did a film called
Overboard.
Overboard, not Overboard. I forget.
Overboard was his first. It was Overboard or Get Over or something.
Well, no, Overboard is
Going Overboard.
Going Overboard, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And then he did Airheads. And then he did Airheads, and then he did Billy Madison, and boom. Okay. He's done the best, and he's did some of the best and some of the worst comedies over the last 25, what has it now been, 28 years? What is the best, the worst, and your guilty pleasure? Like, I don't care if it sucked. I'm still watching. For Adam Sandler.
The best is The Wedding Singer.
Okay.
The worst, I honestly have to say, is Pixels. And my guilty pleasure, oh boy. That would probably be the one where he plays the twins.
No, please don't remind me that that exists.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should feel guilty, sir.
funny story.
I think it's funny. It makes me laugh. I know.
Okay, funny story about me and my relationship to that travesty of a movie. Okay, so when I was like 15, me and my family go down to Disney, and we drove. But the car we were driving had a DVD player in it, so we could watch movies all the way down. And all the way down, mind you, my two little brothers rewatched Jack and Jill probably 7 or 8 times. And every time we weren't doing something in Disney World on that trip, they always popped in Jack and Jill. So I have seen that movie more times probably than I have seen what is probably my favorite movie ever made, which is The Ninth Gate. So... for thinking in that moment when you said that he needs to be burned at the stake.
It's kind of funny because there is a line. There is a line where Al Pacino looks at Adam Sandler and just goes, "No one will ever see that ever."
Al Pacino
burn that. Yeah, the Al Cappuccino. Dunkachino.
I gotta back him up. So the best for me for Adam Sandler is The Wedding Singer.
Okay.
The worst is that him and the one he's just got a sequel on Netflix. It's the murder mystery one with
Hubie Halloween. Hubie Halloween.
No, Murder Mystery 2 he's talking about. There's 2 of them now.
Yeah.
They haven't made a sequel yet to Hubie.
No, the one I'm talking about is the one with the girl played Rachel Green, Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
that one. I don't care for the first one. The second one looks even worse. But the guilty habit one of me watching all the time is Happy Gilmore. The Chubbs, you know.
It's a lot.
Honestly, there's a tie for the best ones. I just went with Wedding Singer, but yeah, I love most of his movies.
Well, I'm the same way, but when I was on Extreme Movie Show, one thing we would say is man up and have an opinion.
Yeah,
you gotta, don't do the wishy. Well, it could be this, it could be that. Man up and have an opinion. Put it out there.
But it's true though. The Water Boy, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, we all quote every single one of those movies.
Yeah,
Punch Drunk
Love
is
the one I always forget about because it's not. Click does not feel like an Adam Sandler movie whatsoever.
I almost want to separate Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems, and like Funny People and everything because they're different. They're different style of Adam Sandler, but man up and have an opinion. And I will put the best is Punch Drunk Love. The worst
Spanglish.
Oh no, I love Spanglish. That was great. The worst for me, now somebody mentioned Bulletproof, and that is bad because that's not an Adam Sandler film. He's just in it. But if I'm going the worst, goodness, Jack and Jill was bad, but the only film I ever was just like, I got to turn this shit off was The Ridiculous Six. I know it's a famous punching bag. It's the Western on Netflix. There is one funniest part though to me when the Tyler, what's his name from the Twilight series,
Taylor Lautner,
thank you, he's getting hanged,
little Nicky,
and he's like, I got strong neck muscles, and he starts swinging. I don't know why, but he says, I'm flying through the air like, yeah, it was just
okay. To be fair, I haven't watched Ridiculous Six or most of the direct to Netflix ones yet, so yeah. My worst might be skewed by that, but
no. There was one where he plays an agent. Oh, and he's talking like this through the whole thing. Sandy Westcler, it's called. That is shit. That is one I absolutely stopped 10 minutes in. That's the worst. My guilty pleasure that it is so bad, but I still love it, and I watch it whenever I get a chance, is That's My Boy, where he plays Andy Samberg's dad.
That one's pretty good, yeah.
That's funny.
That is so bad, but I'll watch that one. Let me see what we got going on in the chat as far as this question is concerned.
Oh, I forgot about anger management.
Oh, that sucked too. Yeah.
Mr. Deeds was boring.
Anger management's awesome. I love it.
Obviously, we have different opinions on.
Yeah. Well, see, it's like I haven't watched any of the Sandler Netflix movies. I mean,
some of them are really good.
Real quickly, I'll say actually my favorite or the best is Happy Gilmore. Because I just absolutely love all the golf scenes. Worst is Don't Mess with a Zohan. I think that's just so incredibly stupid.
Was not good.
And guilty pleasure, Hotel Transylvania.
I don't think that's a guilty pleasure. Those are legitimately good.
Those are the ones that Genndy Tartakovsky single-handedly saves, basically.
Those are legitimately good. Me and Gail watched those actually.
Well,
we have decided that that company, I forget what it is. It's Universal's, but it's got How to Train Your Dragon, the Minions, Gru, what's his name, the Despicable Me films. Those Illumination is what it is. Those films are so much better than Disney nowadays.
Yep.
Which is sad.
Think part of the reason is that they know what they're supposed to be and they be them. They are fun films. Some are better than others. I didn't like this fourth Hotel Transylvania, but the first three, a lot of fun. But yeah, that not bad. Nutty Wolf saying Adam Sandler doesn't only make bad movies, he's a bad comedian. His special from a couple of years ago sucked donkey balls and was only playing for nostalgia. I disagree. And I got to tell you, the Chris Farley song, that hit right there. But hey, you know what? That's what makes horse racing. That just means the hour and a half I spent watching it was well spent and your hour and a half wasn't. That's just it. Phantom saying, I like 50 First Dates. Absolutely hate 8 Crazy Nights.
Yep, I agree. I agree on both of those.
Adam Sandler, he's weird like that. He'll make a good movie, a bad movie, a good movie, a horrible movie, a good movie, a bad movie. You know, he's just on and off like that to the point where I can honestly say I liked Grown Ups and hated Grown Ups too.
Yeah.
I actually don't mind Grown Ups too. I think that might be my guilty pleasure for him.
Yeah.
Big Daddy was great too.
Well, and especially now with his Netflix deal, a lot of these, and you can find articles that will back this up. They've basically become paid vacations for him and his buddies.
He's always done that, or at least ever since like the early 2000s, he's done that.
And why not?
He did that on his CDs.
he goes and he ends up making a few really successful comedies. I remember the biggest one to hit was Waterboy, and then he had 50 First Dates. Now he gets his own production company, and he's putting his friends to work. I remember watching an interview with David Spade. Oh no, it wasn't David Spade. It was Rob Schneider, and he was talking about how auditions have dried up for him. And Adam Sandler says, "Write your own movie. I'll produce it." And so Rob Schneider goes and writes Deuce Bigalow. Deuce Bigelow is a big hit. Okay, now he's got that guy going. Did the same thing with what's his name? David Spade. Okay, Joe Dirt right out the gate. Come on in. And I got to tell you, I normally don't call David Spade a genius, but Joe Dirt is funny as fuck.
The stars must be in alignment because Ash and I agree on something. Yes, I guess you could say that about every Adam Sandler movie. Ash.
What?
He said, "Isn't every Adam Sandler movie a guilty pleasure? Let's be serious now." And
no,
yeah, I have to kind of agree with him.
Legitimately good. Maranya saying I like Waterboy and the one where he's the devil's son, Little Nicky.
Yep.
Billy Madison is also good. What's the one where his stories? That's Bedtime Stories,
yep.
And that is really fun.
I agree.
Groundhog Day never got the hype, says MK. MK, you were soulless. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love Groundhog Day.
You just need to get stuck in your own time loop where you have to watch that movie over and over again until you get it. Basically,
I didn't realize MK was a ginger. So
it's crazy that you think about Groundhog Day movie, how that's basically been copied by so many different people now.
Yeah,
that's how popular the film is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The Ridiculous Six murdered Lautner's career. I'll tell you though, that hanging scene made me laugh like a sieve. It is so ridiculously stupid that it ended me. Also, I think that was. I think that's also the one with. Well, maybe I got to find another worse because it's got two good scenes. There's a scene where John Turturro is the inventor of baseball, and he kind of explains, and he does it in such a way that I've got to pick a different worst.
To be fair, Taylor Lautner's career died the moment he decided to not stay in good shape, because he could have easily been an action hero if he wanted. He was even kind of being set up for it in the movie Abduction, and he just, for whatever reason, decided not to stay in shape, and that, I think, is what killed his career. His career was on life support until that point.
Okay, I'm going to get to Phantasm's new question. It's coming up with some topics for us. But let me go through these a little bit more. Undead Quinn says, best anger management. Guilty pleasure is Little Nicky. Rhaegar saying, what's the Adam Sandberg movie? That was my guilty pleasure called, what? Well, shoot. Who's your daddy? What? My Boy.
Yeah, that's My Boy.
I could not watch more than 10 minutes of Little Nicky. I can understand why.
Same here.
Comedy is also subjective. Most comedy doesn't work for me. That. You know what? My family is like that too. They would rather watch dramas and such like that than comedies. But hey, everybody's got their thing. Zohan was weird. Worst is 8 Crazy Nights, says Undead Quinn. I haven't watched many movies with Adam Sandler. Wedding Singer was good, says Eric and Boyd. 2 movies I never liked that others like a lot, says MK, The Birdcage and Robin Hood Men in Tights. I agree about Robin Hood Men in Tights. I think there are funny scenes, and I think if you show clips, it could be really cool. But unfortunately, I think that was the first step to showing that Mel needed to pull back.
I will say this for Adam Sandler. Even at his worst, he's nowhere near as bad as Freeberg and Seltzer movies. Those movies are blights to the comedy gods, basically.
Okay, so Phantasm is bringing up something that's good to talk about here. While I'm eager to see Michael Keaton as Batman, I seriously think DC only has him to save the movie because of the Ezra Miller bullshit. They had actually planned to bring back Michael Keaton back before Ezra Miller showed his bullshit, so he's not there for that reason. But I guarantee you that Warner Brothers is very happy he's there.
Yes.
For that reason.
Well, they've only basically built the entire advertising campaign and last several trailers around Michael Keaton. So
because it's not just the repugnant shit that Ezra Miller has gotten up to in real life. It's DC's own failure to launch again and again and again, and their failure to keep the things people like while minimizing the things people didn't like. That's the real travesty of what Michael Keaton is saving the Flash from. I don't even think people majoritarily care that much about Ezra Miller's extracurricular activities, because he was always a creepy little weirdo, and no one is surprised that he's an even creepier little weirdo. But people are pissed about the mismanagement of the IP, I think, more than the Ezra Miller thing.
Well, the thing with Ezra Miller is it got wide enough press that even normal people are just...
Yeah, no, I'm not saying people don't care. I'm saying people probably care more about the mismanagement of the IP than they do about...
I gotta tell you,
Ezra Miller being creepy.
I'm starting to feel really stupid for putting The Little Mermaid as the most successful summer movie. I may get burned by that one.
No, I mean, I think you still have possibly a 50-50 shot at it.
That's
because again, it depends if you're talking about successful domestic or successful worldwide. I think Fast X has a chance because those films have been much more popular worldwide than in the US.
I got that up there on the list. I'm trying to find the list.
But again, it all depends on how The Little Mermaid gets received by this generation of 10, 11, 12-year-old girls. If they go for it and tell all their friends, then it'll be huge. If not, then it's gonna flop. So I just wanted to back up real quick because Dalton mentioned a film, and you were talking about ones that you like that a lot of other people hate, and it seems like Dalton and I are the only Ninth Gate fans.
Oh no, it's a good movie. I don't love it, but it's a good movie.
It's my comfort food movie. If I'm having a bad day, all I have to do is pop in the Ninth Gate and watch it, and I'm having a decent day.
Okay.
I mean,
I enjoy it. It's one of those movies that every time it pops up on, on cable or on an HBO or something, I usually get sucked into watching it.
The only criticism I have of the movie is the opening credits go on for freaking ever. They need to cut those opening credits by about a minute and a half.
Who's in that movie?
Johnny Depp and Frank
Langella.
Yeah. And then who's the woman?
I forget I forget who played the familiar character. I know that it's mostly Frank Langella and Johnny Depp playing off of each other, but there's a female character who basically plays his, soon to be familiar, and there's a female character who plays a femme fatale by the name of Liana Telfer, and I can't think of her actress's name either.
Yeah. Hey, guys, it has been 2 hours, so and Gail's gonna get home soon, so I'm gonna call it here. Yeah, I think this is a good place to stop.
I just want to say the 2 movies I'm looking forward to this summer is Oppenheimer and Spider-Man 2 into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, we could leave on that. And
I'm not really looking forward to anything.
The looks pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I made a list just to see how accurate it can be, and kind of a fun thing.
Also, Hell's frozen over because John Cleese is actually defending J.K. Rowling.
No, he's been on the right side of identity politics since the very beginning. John Cleese. Has been on,
but it's crazy. Like he says, is John Cleese is now coming on saying it's see, the hate's only one-sided.
Ash, the best Alan Moore adaptation is still to this day V for Vendetta. That movie is amazing.
It is.
Oh, no.
So,
well, not just that, but also
follow
the man who has everything from Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
You're what?
Yeah. Well, I'll say, I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer, and then I got to throw in Mission Impossible. I mean, I'm sorry.
But is that
Mission Impossible?
Tom Cruise is awesome. And
that's going to be the fall, though. Not summer, though.
My biggest are Spider-Man and The Flash.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 I'm most looking forward to for summer.
Oppenheimer looks great, though.
I agree. But if we're only limiting it to 2, those are the 2 I'm most anticipating. Yeah.
Yeah, because Blue Beetle's on August. I know that's coming out.
All right.
I don't know enough about Oppenheimer to be it seems like a kind of movie that I would like, but I don't know enough about it to be interested in it.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I know the history, but I don't know how they're choosing to adapt the history. Is what I'm saying. They're not doing a really dramatic angle or anything.
All right,
it's basically it's over Einstein and Porky's.
Yeah. Okay. Venkman Mission Impossible's July 12th.
Is it July 12th? I thought it was later.
Nope.
Dang.
It's gonna take all the box office from Indiana Jones.
14 minutes later.
Okay, kids. You guys have a great time. I gotta get out of here. Have fun. Don't forget to go over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. Go to Geeky Pup Show, check to see if they're your cup of tea as well.
Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central.
There you go. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
Cheers,
guys. See you all later.